today, as of July 11th, Blackpink released a single by the name of Jump that already has 41 million views on YouTube. And this comes after almost a full 2-year gap, with the previous song being The Girls that was released August 23rd, 2023. And of course, with this release, like every other release, it comes with the music video. But as we start watching through the music video, it's looking a little funky, a little suspicious, if you will. Just to point out a couple oddities in the beginning of the video. The first frame that looks a bit odd is this billboard of Rosé, because Rosé is holding a microphone, but it does kind of look like her thumb and her middle finger are blending into each other. Now, this could just be because, the camera's panning really quickly, maybe there's a motion blur. One thing that AI tends to do is that when it's drawing fingernails on hands, it tends to forget to draw fingernails on all of the hands. Whereas typically with a human artist, they would make the design choice to put fingernails on all 5 fingers or just omit them entirely for design reasons. Rosé has fingernails only on her thumb and her index finger and not on the others. When we look at any of the pause frames in the beginning, it's looking a bit distorted, especially these frames where we just have the crosswalks melting into each other, let alone the fact, and let me go here, that this intersection actually has a crosswalk directly in the middle of the intersection, leading into another crosswalk that's kind of melting off the floor. As you click through, look at this building, the windows are just absolutely distorting on this building. And then we scrub through and we have a poster of Jisoo on a building. Although, if you look at the building, none of the lines are actually straight on these windows. These windows are absolutely crooked. And you might break the defense, oh, well, this is just CGI, etc. This would be a fair point, with the exception of if it were CGI, then they would at least be able to get the window lines straight. One thing to note is this building over here on the left. Take a note at this window being the largest, the second window being very short and the same width, and the window below it being of average height. And as we pan closer to the poster of Jisoo, this second window just gets bigger and bigger and bigger down here. And then we kind of have a city flyover where, again, just detailing of the buildings are melting into each other. And we have a poster of Lisa. Another one that's a bit odd, but you have a building where looking at the roof of the building with a bunch of metal fencing. But if you look at the fencing, as you skip frames, here on this frame, the fencing is very warped. And then the next frame over, it's suddenly straight. And then we move forward like a couple frames, and all of a sudden the fencing is warping again. If it were CGI, it would be straight. This is not motion blur. My initial thought was, oh, this maybe is just CGI. There's just heavy motion blur because the camera is panning so quickly. So it's just a fluke. We get further into the music video, and then there's this running scene, heavily sped up, most definitely giving AI. If we just scrub through the frames, ignore the girls, but look at the background here. Just all of the warping and distortion that's happening. And this is not motion blur distortion. This is looking much more AI-esque in its distortions. And a lot of people on Twitter feel the same way. Here we have this account on Twitter, Dekudam, writing, Blackpink embarrasses K-pop and uses AI in their new song. Connected fingers, shapeless structures, and melting letters. This cheap content is what they're selling. So here, this is again the hand on the microphone with the fingers kind of melting into each other, with some fingers just not having fingernails at all. This is part of the running scene, but you can see the warping that's happening with the background. This is not a motion blur because they're running so fast, you can't see the background, but like it kind of looks like you're looking at it through some water, with like the rippling effect. More unrecognizable text in the background, more warping of the background. You can see in the flyover. This one, I love this one. You pan over to this section and it's just the building is collapsing. More sections where all the buildings look like they're crumbling and there's like a stick figure floating in the sky. More warping of the background in the running scene. More stick figures in the sky. Maybe this is supposed to be Blackpink flying. Building distortions. And Dekudem adds, if their fans say this is not true, here's a person who works in digital studios exposing Blackpink for using AI. And this was the post that went really viral from Matcha Flum Pebble, who quote retweeted the music video stating, where did the budget go? Why is it all AI? And Jiro responds, these are the most obvious examples of the AI image generation that I was able to spot. I'm so confused why nobody else is talking about this. Again, we have the rosé, the warping. A commenter says, babe, that's CGI. Jiro says, I legit don't want an argument. I love these girls and I'm sure you do too. But it's blatant AI. I would know. I work and study in digital media. I know how to spot AI. It's more harmful to deny the use of it and let it pass by as if it's nothing. I'm just so confused as to why the art directors wanted to use AI. Blackpink is literally one of the most profitable girl groups out there, and they've always done so well with real sets and real design and actual CGI. So Jiro also highlights, the crumbling buildings in the background as the girls are flying, plus this. And Jiro adds, as an example, this is what motion blur does to objects and letters. It's blurred, yes, but it's blurring motion that aligns with the action. It doesn't distort space or images just because it's going fast. Example of motion blur, where you can see it's blurred because the cyclists are going forward, so they're going left to right. So the words are blurring from left to right. Here, the girls are running forward, the words are blurring up, down, left, right, and into like the fourth dimension over here. Jiro is adding some more blurs, some more warping. Jiro adds, this was 7 years ago with the same director. Notice how actual CGI is clear, consistent, and any abnormalities is a stylistic decision. So here we have all of the buildings, windows that actually line up, and one building just kind of warping in the front. Even under heavy blur, space does not distort. Lines do not change and morph. Please educate yourself on how to spot AI before claiming it's CGI. Another screenshot of blurring. Another commenter, Lua, adds, why is nobody talking about how Rosé's face looks distorted in this part? I really got confused. This is the scene where all the girls are flying through the sky, but Rosé's face is looking a bit distorted. One thing that's just a bit sus that indicates it could potentially be some sort of AI distortion, besides the fact that all the buildings are once again crumbling in the background, is the teeth, because people's teeth are typically straight, but in this frame, Rosé's teeth are slanted at like a 45-degree angle in her mouth. It could just be a blur, potentially, but I find it a little bit hard to believe when other features of her face are pretty clear. Like, this eyeliner wing could cut vegetables in the kitchen, It just doesn't make sense how the teeth aren't aligning with the same level of clarity that her eye has. If her eye is in focus, likely most of her face, including her teeth, would also be in focus, and thus even. If you look at the other frames, her teeth are very straight. Other commenters are defending it because some of the Blackpink girls have posted things on their stories, examples of them using CGI and flying through the sky. Other examples, and a commenter says they pasted the real them in a background made by AI. It's not that difficult. Another commenter, David33, throws in their 2 cents. At least 90% of Blackpink's Jump was made with AI. I actually work with AI because I'm forced to as a graphic designer and film editor. Not everything in this music video is AI, especially the dancers. But it's pretty easy to see what was actually made with AI because it looks like hot garbage. Even the members were in 4 different rooms probably. The whole background and city was AI generated, even though there are actual renders of cities. A real VFX made from scratch doesn't look like this. VFX teams are forced to generate AI clips and fix it later because it makes the workflow faster, and most importantly, much cheaper for the customer. So in short, it's AI fixed by real people as much as they can. I have to add caveats. I don't know K-pop like this. I am seeing Blackpink tomorrow though. They're gonna be my first concert ever, which I'm really excited for. I feel like a lot of Blinks took it as kind of like a personal attack. People calling out the music video for using AI as you calling Blackpink bad. I feel like we can all agree that nobody is blaming Blackpink, the 4 girls, Lisa, Rosé, Jisoo, and Jennie, as being the ones who came up with this idea. Highly doubt these girls went to YG Entertainment and was like, yeah, for a new song, let's make the entire music video out of AI, except for us, obviously, green screen us in there. They're there to sing, perform in their best abilities, and it's upper management, so YG Entertainment, who makes the decisions, right, produces the music video. The girls are just told where to be, how to act in the music video, etc. When we're pointing fingers here, the fault lies with upper management that made the decision. After the girls hadn't had a song come out for almost 2 years, the fans were super excited for more songs to come out from their favorite group, and they deliver something that is just filled with AI. The fans don't deserve that. The girls don't deserve that either. And like other commenters have said, Blackpink is highly successful and, from what it looks like, very profitable. I don't know their business backend, but it just feels from a consumer and fan perspective kind of disrespectful, because it wasn't like you guys were short on money and so you guys made this choice, which I personally will also disagree with a decision made through that line of thinking. But they clearly seem to have the money, YG Entertainment that is, and still made the choice to try to speed up the workflow and cheapen it by using AI. I feel like no one out here is blaming the girls for this because they very likely had no idea that the music video was going to be AI. But would love to hear your thoughts about this. Do you like the song, at least? I'm very excited to see them tomorrow, so yay! But yeah, if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on VGen and Etsy. I have art that I sell over there, digital arts for streamers. I also have a coffee with free resources for streamers and creators. And I also stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So I hope to catch you guys in my streams or in another one of my videos. I just posted a video recently about a mobile game by the name of Etheria Restart that is filled with AI. So if you like mobile gacha gaming, maybe you'll be interested in checking that out, or I'll catch you in another video or a stream.